p.m. Eastern Time. And I've been talking about the big splat, the big split, the difference. Casey gave a great reading, many great readings, but one that I'm interested in is the one that he was talking about. February 17th is going to be a solar eclipse. And when that occurs, we won't really see it, but energetically we will, because it will basically take the human race and either those who are following the chaos protocol of power and strength and me first, they will go one way, and the folks who are into the we and me, being God's doula of agape love, of God's co-creation in love, they will go that way. And what the folks who go for love will understand that life is not a linear thing. There isn't winners and losers. We all get to go home. We all are, adopted children of love's co-creation. And right now, you need to be thinking of this. You need to be putting it into your everyday and every way. I'm going to take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. I'm going to be in love's co-creation. I am going to focus on that, right? And because, like me, I'm an old guy. I've died 7 times, right? And so I keep getting brought back to do what God wants me to do. Now, I've been out in the Garden of Eden for the last 6 years, and up until last winter, the winters weren't that bad. I could, they were like 40 during the day, 20 at night. I could deal with that. Last winter, we had 4 weeks where it was minus 20 during the day and 40 degrees colder than that at night. So that was like, forget about it. With wind chill, woo! So obviously I couldn't live through that again, and we're having this last winter has been colder than that. So I was put in a safe place, to stay warm. And little did I realize that that place I'm in, there are all these people that are old, and they're in fear and anger and all of the above. And so I was put there. That's like my, what do you call it? A training. When you go in the army, they give you boot camp. Well, that's it. So that's what I'm there to do, is to interact with that, right? And there are a lot of people, I talk to them this way, and you're Satan, you're, and so we have to really realize that fear is illusion. That's, what is Satan but our ego's illusion, right? So you want to get stuck in that? You go, oh, the lake of fire. Well, you're already there if you're there now. Yes, it's uncomfortable in this fleshy world of sin, but you don't have to, go along to get along. You can be love's co-creation. That's why I do these shows, to talk to you guys, right? Yes, there's one person now. So how do you feel about, February 7th, you're going to die? And what does that mean? You're either going to go into the lake of fire of fear, Satan's fleshy hubris of ego, or you're going to step into love's co-creation, right? And every day and every way, you'll take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. The dynamics are going to be right there. They're going to be a split personality. And you either step into your better self or into your negative self, right? Which is fear and violence and anger and all the rest. And you have nothing to fear but fear itself. FDR said that, right? So you need to step into, oh yeah, I'm great. I'm great. You know what? I will take a little more water.
You want more water?
Yeah, a few more little lemons.
Okay. Do you want it to go?
No.
Okay.
Gonna be here for a few more minutes.
Yeah.
So you have to help everyone around you, right? And that's what it's about, the we and me. You're here to be the we and me, right? So, anyway, so you have a great opportunity. This is, 2026 is the year of where you're the decider. You can pick for what you want. This year is the year for you to decide what you want to be.
What I want to be?
Yes, for the rest of your life.
I've already decided.
Well, no, it's a little more deeper than that. Like, do you want to go into, like, going along to get along, like through fear, anger, and stupidity? Or do you want to go this way and be in God's love and redemption and forgiveness?
See, I've already decided I want to be a God. I want to go with the God.
Right? So you got to, like, from this moment on, you have to kind of be there. You know how the Christians say to be born again?
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like almost every second.
Yep.
Not like, because the past is gone,
Mhm.
future ain't here yet.
Yep.
It's just right here.
Yep.
So if you can do that, no matter what's coming down the pike, you don't have to be scared of it.
Of course. Yeah. That's how I see it too. Get out, spread His word, be happy for the rest of your life.
Right? And
There's no reason to hold that anger.
exactly. But it's not just counterproductive. It's an illusion.
Yeah.
That's what sin is, an illusion.
Mhm.
So that book I gave you, when you get home, take it out, and like I said, it's the condensed, not the condensed, but you got the Old Testament, it's not there. They have the other parts, it's not, those other parts are good, but those two parts in that little book, you can carry it around with you as much you want.
Yeah.
You can just read a paragraph or two, right?
Yep.
And the best thing to do is read it before you go to sleep so you can dream about it.
Yes, I've heard that actually works too.
Yep, it does. I've been doing it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more fun.
Yep.
Instead of letting your subconscious throw up stupid stuff, and
Yeah.
so don't do that. Thank you, Bob.
I'll start reading it before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And keep it in your pocket, and every time you got it, instead of like scrolling,
Yeah.
read a paragraph.
Yeah, of course I will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. See, that's what it's about. Right there. That's what it's about. Right? Share and care. Right? Not power, not fear, not anger, not disappointment. Right? So, maybe lemons. Makes almost any water taste passable. So to go on about the wars and the conflict and the crash of the economy, I mean, Donald Trump is doing all this. He was hired. He's reading a script. All of these, Putin, the guy from Ukraine, Bibi, they're all reading a script. And it's not the end of time script either. End of times ain't here. Go read Mark 24. It's not over until it's over. And, Jesus said, there's going to be a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of people telling you, hey, I'm God, blah, 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 follow me. There's going to be a lot of chuckleheads, right? I mean, Donnie is a chucklehead. His cartoon cabinet, they're all cutouts. They're not real. They don't exist. They come from fear and ignorance. So what do you want to do? That's the real thing. So this one person who's been there, it's like someone who's really gotten caught by this little theme I'm putting down. I have maybe 10, 15 minutes more. So it's also could be AI. AI is the really interesting thing about history and God. There's always the unexpected consequence. That's why the Bible is true. I mean, you read Acts, it's like a top on steroids. Anyway, so Romans too. Romans is another really good dynamic that gives you the foundational understandings, right? The Old Testament, you suck, where, it portrays Israel, which is pretty much us, as, a bitchy girlfriend of God who steals his cigarettes and his loose change. That's the Old Testament. And the other, the New Testament is Paul. used car salesman, lawyer, just, and the whole thing is written by him. I mean, Mark, Luke, John, all those guys wrote him postcards, but he kind of put it out because he was a lawyer. He was a, did you ever see the TV show Mad Men? That's Paul right there. So anyway, so every minute you can stop being distracted and you go into the space of letting go of your fear, anger, and disappointment, and embracing love's co-creation in every day and every way of what you do, moment by moment. That's where you get, oh, you got to be reborn. Well, you don't have to clip the wick. You don't have to, burn the cheeseburger. No, you just have to have love's co-creation in your heart every moment. Now, it's hard for us meat puppets to do that. We're motivated by our controlled, not motivated, controlled by our chemicals in our body, right? So, that's why we age. That's why I look so old. I didn't put on my hat or my sunglasses. I want you to see the real look in me, right? See, the nun eye, you can definitely see the difference of that eye from this eye. This one's relatively normal. This one is like, ooh, ooh. And, so I got murdered by a Nazi nun. That was really a guy. What can I say? So, and you can only thank the Vatican for that. And all the stuff that's going down deep, it's not the Vatican per se, it's what's behind the Vatican. And it's everything what's behind. What's behind that? What's going on? What's deeper than the surface? What's deep? Donnie couldn't be any more superficial. I mean, this thing that just happened with Canada, Stark, he kind of, first of all, he was not a politician, and he basically is a banker, strategist. And Canada, which is being controlled by another entity, Canada's just a cutout, and people don't realize that NAFTA and the American blah, 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 whatever it is, basically was set up to make Greenland, Canada, United States, and Mexico, and Venezuela, and other parts of the Caribbean, a federation, right? And that's kind of what Orwell's 1984 was about. There are these three legs of the planet's power structure that were all connected, and that's what fascism is. It isn't just a political, Benito Mussolini. No, it's a worldview where the world is a corporation, and a person who has been going at that bigger than anybody is Mr. Rothschild. And, Mr. Albert Pike. Go look up Albert Pike. He kind of looks like me. So, and again, those guys are, basically, they're character actors who are, basically like Donnie, but Donnie's even, he's not even from Central Casting. He's just a game show host. Remember the Apprentice? He was the apprentice for this job. And he's reading the teleprompter. I mean, his stupidity, his hubris, everything is like straight out of Central Casting. So, how can you destroy an empire in less than a year? Get Donald Trump. Give him a sledgehammer. Get someone really stupid like Neon Husk and the Chucklehead comic strip, tech bros and burger billionaires, and I want a pillow boy. That's how you take it out. And yes, millions are going to die. Already have. Close to 300 million people have died since Donnie has taken office last year. And, not just that they died, a lot of people die all the time, but the 300 million that died pretty much died at the hands of Donnie. And they were the burnt offerings, right? So, to Moloch, right? So, here we are, right? Still got maybe 20 minutes, right? like I said, it hates it when I let the show end on a dead battery, so I got to keep an eye on that. And so what do you want to do? That's you got between now and the 17th. Today is the 9th, tomorrow's the 10th. Tomorrow, a lot of crazy stuff is going to go down. I mean, it's already going down right now. So it's, Iran is on, got a finger on the trigger. Donnie's like, doesn't know whether to attack or not to attack. If he does, you better put some gas in your car right now. And, the corporate fascists, who you have to realize Donald Trump and all the chuckleheads in Congress, they're just cardboard cutouts. They aren't fascists. They aren't leaders. They aren't the people doing any of this. They're just the cutouts, right? It's like the Who's song, Don't Get Fooled Again, meaning the old boss, the same as the new boss, It's not so much Donald Trump you got to worry about. It's what comes next, What's coming next, And it's up to you, because you can make that divine. You can either choose to be your better self and be the word doula. What is a doula? It's basically the person who assists the midwife to birth the child, right? And the child is the new, the new Aquarian age. That's the child. And it's kind of being born on the 17th of this month, February. Now, these things aren't like put a pin in and there it is. No, this started happening, 2,500 years ago with Jesus, right? And before that, Moses, and before that, the guy who wrote, Thucydides, right? So it's when that spirit of love's co-creation is in your heart and you let go of your ego, right? So that's that. Or you can embrace hatred and fear and anxiety and ego, which is all of Satan's illusion of vanity. It's all vanity. And again, Mark and Romans are two really good things to look at. But pretty much the whole New Testament. But again, remember, the New Testament is just, Paul's comic book. But as you read it, you need to let it be the tuning fork. You don't read it like it's like the Old Testament. It's like some car manual on how to drive your life. No. Make this offerings, do that, put a block of wood on your head and wrap the twig around your arm. No. It's basically being in love with God. The first commandment, have no false God in front of me, right? And see, people get confused by God, Well, how could you not? The unknowable, if you try to put human characteristics on God, that right there, I think, is a sin, right? And make any kind of statues. The Baptists kind of said, oh, well, we have to sandblast the windows so we can't look out because we'd be distracted. We have nothing on the walls. It's just white, No, it's going a little excessive there. Whatever's God is God. And you let it be the tuning fork of your heart. And that's where you're born again. Every nanosecond of your life. The past is gone. The future is not here yet. Don't worry about anything. Just live in God's love. That's all you gotta do. It's not rocket science, right? So you need to prepare. So keep the thought of God's love in your heart as much as you can. When you're about to go to sleep, think about that, right? All kinds of stuff pops into my head before I go to sleep, and I dream about all kinds of stuff. But when I just focus on God, the dreams are always quite interesting. And that's what, Edgar Casey, he was, people thought he was slow at this, that, couldn't read, couldn't speak, couldn't do anything. He's a dummy. Well, one day, he was trying to read a book, and he was getting tired, so he stuck the book under the pillow and went to sleep. And when he woke up, he knew that book verbatim. That's how he read books. He'd go to sleep. That's why he was called the sleeping prophet. Now, he wasn't a god or anything. He was just a radio. There are a lot of people. Everyone can listen to God. Everyone can talk to God. Everyone can be a doula to God, meaning the assistant to birthing a new way of living. That's the old way of living, which is love's co-creation. All this other stuff is like the matrix illusion of Satan's, flesh. That's the matrix. Flesh. Flesh is sin, right? And what is sin? There's only really one sin: when you turn your back on God and you don't believe in God. And you can be a Baptist, or you can be a Methodist, or you can be Jewish or Muslim, and you can Allah Akbar all you want, but if you don't have God in your heart, doesn't matter what flavor of culture you come from, because there aren't black people or white people or red people, or even, men and women. There's human beings. Now, we do have men and women. That's called sex. And that sex is for reproduction. Now, it's a little fun because most people wouldn't even do it if it wasn't a little fun, because it's so tedious and boring. And then you had the kids and you got to deal with that. And most people can't do it. I mean, you got to go to school and take a test to get a driver's license, right? They don't do that for parents. Any chucklehead, A few moments of bang, 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 there's a kid. So here we are, and we're moving towards, February 17th. And then February 20-something is another solar occasion. And right now, the sun is really popping off. That's why all our weather comes from the sun. And, the global warming is coming from the sun. And if you do any homework, you will see that Earth, over its 6 billion years or so, has been mostly an ice cube. And only every now and then, it's a Cuban hotspot, right? Or a Caribbean beach, right? Well, we're going back into the Cuban ice cube, shaken, not stirred. And Cuba, we have 30% of the U.S., Donnie has 30% of the U.S. Navy in the Caribbean. He only has 8% in the Mideast. Just enough to get into trouble. Because Iran has said, we got our radars up, we got all our missiles ready. As soon as we see you coming at us, we're not waiting until the bombs drop. We see you coming into our airspace, we're launching everything. We're going to, overpower everybody. We're going to take out all the 24 bases, the 60,000 American soldiers. We're going to take out that Lincoln Naval Group, 16,000 sailors, a $20 billion aircraft carrier, big, expensive assets, all those Burke-class destroyers and submarines. You only have so many missiles. You only have so many bombs. We got a lot more. You can blow up a lot of our stuff, but we have a population of over 90 million, and we got them out of town. I mean, there's no one in Tehran anymore. They got them out of town. They're up in the mountains. Iran is basically a mountainous place with lots of forests, and they have spent the last 60 years digging tunnels so no one can get at them. So they got whole cities underground. You could nuke the place, and they're still there. Not so much for us. Our utilities can't even take a snowstorm. So, because, Mr. Rothschild bought our utilities back in '72, bought us, that's why we went up the gold standard, right? And we made the petrodollar. And now the petrodollar is going bye-bye. And because we're no longer going to be the largest consuming country of the world, no one wants to borrow our debt. They're getting rid of it. China, Japan, Germany, the largest holders of our debt, they're getting rid of it. So we're already in deep. And because no one, the They see Donald Trump. He came by twice. Americans voted for him twice, right? And so everyone else is going, we can't, America's forgot about it. They can't be a partner. We can't trust them. They're already old school. They're already they're shooting themselves in the foot left and right. And, Canada, our number one ally, our number one trading partner, our number one resource, you know? Downey's just put, because he wouldn't, Sturmer wouldn't do what he said this morning. He, instead of, Downey put things that Canada couldn't respond to. So instead of trying to do anything, try to bend a knee or do anything or whine or say how cute he looks, the president of Canada just packed up and went back to Canada and said, when he got back there, he didn't do a tweet. He basically made a diplomatic statement saying the United States and America have broken off the agreement that came after NAFTA, and this week they had to thumbs up or thumbs down on it or it ends. And he said, the United States was trying to force Canada to do things it can't do, so we don't need America, and America needs us, and it does. The whole East Coast gets all its electricity from Quebec. All our, you hear about aluminum from Canada. Well, it's not aluminum for Coke cans. No, it is high valuable, what is known as aerospace aluminum. Well, we're not getting any of that, right? So, a lot of things of that nature. And the United States, got something like $12 billion worth of its GDP from Canadians visiting America. And not anymore. And Europeans aren't coming here anymore. No one's going to Disney World, not anymore. So in this next 20 days, you're going to see an economic collapse like will make your head spin. Then if we get, go toe-to-toe with Iran, we lose 200,000 soldiers in less than 20 days. We will lose 50% of our military assets in 20 days. And, the EU has depended on us as a NATO ally. Well, we're not dependable anymore. And because they didn't really take care of their own needs for the last 70 years, they're having to, to go up against Russia. Now, Russia has dug a ditch for themselves. Again, I'm saying all of this stuff is basically scripted by agents you don't see. It's not Donnie, it's not Elon Musk, it's none of the tech bros or the commies or the Chinese or the Nazis or none of that, or even the, Khazarian mob or whatever. None of that. It's behind that. It's what Satan is. It's Satan. Now, Satan doesn't make you do anything. You do it. Right? The human race does this. We don't have to. And we have between now, the 9th to the 17th, you have the opportunity to change your direction from that scumbag or that sweet guy or gal. It's up to you. Well, it's starting to red line. I probably have 5 minutes to say I love you guys. I'll keep doing the show as much as I can, as long as there's electricity. We could very easily get hit by an X flare in the next few days, which would fry, depending on which way the Earth is at the time of that. One side or the other will get barbecued, meaning every silicon chip gone, car not starting, gas not pumping, heat not working, all the rest. Happens to us, and especially the folks who are getting that super cold weather right now. That won't be pretty. Probably a million people will freeze to death in a couple of days, right? So, good luck for that. All you people in New Jersey and New York and Boston and Massachusetts, New Hampshire, everyone, that little 95 corridor up to Maine, it's been like a bowling alley. You guys just been getting it. Other guys down in the south, sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. That's all like us. We've had about 2 weeks of cold weather, but not really. 20s in the evenings and 40s to 30s during the day. Not so bad. Not like you know Ohio Valley or not like Chicago. Right now, it's like you go outside, you get frozen, right? You get wind chill in less than a minute, right? If you're not all bundled up and prepared. So all I can say is bundle up and get prepared, and not just physically, but spiritually. Put love in your heart, and nothing else matters, right? So in every day and every way, take the peace of the earth and make it stronger. Praise God, praise Jesus, and bless the other who's your sister and brother from a different cultural mother, in the crosshairs of Satan's fear of losing his ego. If you just, that's all an illusion. Get rid of that as your foundation of life. I love these guys. I'm a realist. I'm a businessman. I live in the real world. No, they don't. They live in a total illusion, right? Love is the only reality. And people say that, but you really have to internalize it. Now, the more you do it, the easier it gets. That's all I can say, right? And all those people who annoy you, who just makes you grind your teeth, or I don't care, or you can't say, oh, I don't care about those people, right? I don't care about the homeless. I don't care about this stupid person or that. No. You have to basically forgive them, pray for them, and move forward. Don't get stuck. Okay, I think I will leave you with that, and that's probably a good thing to leave you. So I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Praise God, praise Jesus, and bless your other brother and sister from another cultural mother.